Hello everybody, this is Gwyneth and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing relatively well. There are lots of extenuating circumstances, but we'll jump into some of that as we talk astrology and tarot. You know, what can I say? It's been a busy few weeks. It seems like every day we have more news that's coming out of whatever left field, right field, or somewhere in between. We're all doing our best. So what I want to do here today is talk about the transits in sort of a review fashion for the next few minutes, and give you an idea of what's coming up from March 19th to the 25th, and give you a flavor. I think that's the best way to describe this. A flavor of the next 9 days. Something that you can maybe hang your hat on, that can give you some sense of grounding and structure. And before I get going, I just want to let you know that you can go to my website. You can find me there, and you can also leave notes. You can find out more about my history, why I do this, and how I do this. And that might be really interesting for some of you. And the other thing is that it really helps this channel to grow. So if you like, share, and subscribe, it does a lot for everything I'm working on, and also people who support me and help me in this process, so that we can move forward and do more interesting projects. Okay, let's get going. And I'm not going to belabor the review. It's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to start on March 19th. March 19th, we had a new moon. No, actually, I take that back. On March 18th, the moon went into Pisces, and it was a new moon. Now, for some of you, you're old hats at this. You listen to lots of astrologers. You coast through various podcasts. But then there are people who just want to find out about what kind of energy is affecting them. And so they don't get caught up in the minutia of astrology. But a new moon means new beginnings. It means new places to start, new ideas, new everything. Maybe you've changed jobs and you're moving into something totally different. Or maybe you've decided to toss everything out of your closet. Okay. But the new moon in Pisces is sensitive. It's dealing with your feelings. I don't care if you're an Aries, a Leo, or a Capricorn. The new moon registers as sensitive. It registers by affecting the deepest part of your psyche. Pisces is a water sign. Yes, yes, yes. But it really does make you emotional and highly sensitive to people's criticisms. And I'm talking about everybody. I'm not just singling out the water signs or all the Pisces out there. Although I will say that this new moon may impact the water signs and the earth signs in a profound way, that you, to the point where you may be actually sending me notes telling me how it did impact you. But in general, it's, you know, it's a universal energy that we're dealing with. And with Pisces in this new moon, you may have felt like you've gone from one state of mind to a different one in a matter of days. It may have been that you were not feeling a lot you were just, you know, business as usual. And then suddenly things are hitting you hard. I suggest that if you feel anything that's getting in your way, you talk to friends or you contact your counselors or whatever. Because this is a very deep, soulful new moon. When I talk about new beginnings, some of you may have discovered that somebody that you were in love with has different feelings, or you may discover that you were adopted and you didn't know that, or any number of things can kick off this very intense emotional period, and it's a new beginning. It may be that you've moved from an area that you really loved and you're living somewhere else because you have to do it for your career. So that's this feeling, and the energy of this new moon can resonate for weeks to come. The review for this week, though, talks about 2 or 3 different transits that really impact us. So that new moon is one of them. Another one is that Mercury, which has been retrograde for weeks, has moved in to its direct motion. It feels like you may feel that there's been an abrupt change in the way you communicate or the way people are communicating with you. I urge people that to clue into this with Mercury going direct. It will stay in shadow period until about April 1st. So try to back off of major decisions if you can. I'm not saying you always can. I mean, sometimes you can't delay the inevitable. And, you know, let's face it, life forces you to make decisions. But that is what we are always told. So that shadow period, even though Mercury does go direct, can impact some of our decision making. I like retrogrades. I think it gives us a chance to rethink our decisions, to regroup, so to speak. On the Saturday, the 21st, Mars in Aries will trine, Mars will trine Jupiter. You've got energy impacting Jupiter. Jupiter has been in Cancer, and you have this Marsian energy, and it has been and is in Pisces. Again, I know it's sort of backing up the new moon in Pisces, but when Mars trines Jupiter in Pisces, it gives Jupiter a foot up to emphasize the very Jupiterian thing that's happening right now, which is the emphasis on family, home matters, housing, food, needs of children. And you may find that in the public arena, people are talking about things that have to do with home, family, children, the needs of children, the plight of children, etc., etc. And so it gives that area of life a central focus. And I think it's good. I mean, I'm a Cancer. I think that we sometimes in this, this era that we live in, shove issues around home and family to the corner. But right now, you'll see that this is emphasized. I think the most powerful transit, maybe there's a couple powerful transits that happen around the 25th. And that's Wednesday. And it's a loaded, hyperbolic kind of energy, where the sun in fiery Aries links up with Saturn, which is also in Aries. We call this a Saturn cazimi. For those of you who know that, no biggie. But this occurs once a year when Saturn falls within a very close degree of the sun, where the sun emphasizes whatever Saturn is stationed in, and Saturn is in Aries. So what we should be seeing at that time is this real emphasis on order, control, taking charge of your life, productivity, adhering to traditional ways. And because the sun is like a flashpoint for it, is a power, almost like plugging Saturn into a high voltage battery. You're going to see this emphasized in family structures, in the political arena, even in the workplace, depending on where it falls in your chart. So this is going on during this period from the 19th to March 25th. The other thing that's happening is that Aries, the sun in Aries, will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So while we have this very strong emphasized Saturn, you know, might and right and traditional values and doing things the proper way and being productive and adhering to rules, we have Aries, the sun in Aries, doing a happy dance with Pluto, which is in Aquarius. Now, these are heavy hitters. You know, when we start talking about the sun and Pluto, or the sun and Saturn, these are, you know, long, I want to word this properly for you. These are planets that move slowly. The sun doesn't move slowly, but, you know, Saturn and Pluto do. And Pluto in Aquarius is saying, let's look at social justice. Let's look at innovation. Let's pay attention to interesting new ways to do X, Y, or Z that have to do with technology and environment and alternative anything. So you have these at the same time, and I think, I don't want to get overly dramatic here, but people, listen to me. You have these two kind of different focuses. I want to call them foci, but that's not what it is. Between the sun and Pluto and the sun and Saturn. The sun sextiling Pluto says, you know, we could, I don't know, we could generate a power to heat our homes by combining XYZ power grids and moving things around and trying alternative modalities so that we wouldn't have to use fossil fuels. We have, you know, the idea that humanity comes first and the needs of people, definitely, of all sorts. It's very alternative in its persuasion when you talk about Aquarius as it relates to this scenario, right? And then you have the sun conjuncting Saturn, which says, you know, we have to do things the proper way, the way we've always done it. So my prediction, and this is very, you know, said with a very wide, I'm gonna retrace my steps a little bit. I'm saying this in a broad way. I think around Wednesday the 25th, we're going to see at least some kind of national, international conversation that deals with these opposing ideas. And there might be people who are saying the world is a changing place. We need alternative vision. If we're talking about politics, we may be seeing people putting their favorite candidates forward who have an alternative vision. You may see a shift in certain parties, or you may see people that you haven't even heard of before come out of the woodwork talking about alternative technologies that have yet to be uncovered and that are only now being developed. At the same time, don't be surprised if you don't experience a backlash to some of these changes that are being proposed. So I guess you could boil it down and say that there's at the very least, a push-pull between traditional values and some of the more modern concepts that are being put forth. And it can range, as I just said, from politics to technology to human rights. So that is what I expect us to hear, see, experience over that period of time. I think it might even start around the 23rd, because this is a highly provocative couple transits that will not take no for an answer. I would doubt that people will be immune to hearing about the discussions that come forward out of this particular period, because of the power that's backing both the this Saturn cazimi and Pluto sextile, and both of them transiting with a conjunction, Saturn with a conjunction to the Sun, and Pluto with sextiling the Sun. We have not had this particular type of Saturn cazimi for about 29 years. And it lasted from 1996 to 1999. It's, a period of time where, people were trying to figure out what their boundaries were. How far could something be pushed? How far can we expand? Can we step outside the traditional limits of the workplace, of relationships, of certain kinds of very traditional arrangements, even as it relates to education and healthcare? So this is a fascinating period. And I'm not saying that a Saturn conjunction to the Sun doesn't happen once a year, because it does. But, we're dealing with Aries here. And on top of everything, Aries is fiery. It is dominating. It is highly organized and sometimes very cerebral in its approach to masterminding. Did I say that right? Managing situations and making sure that their way is put forth first. So in some ways, I think some of the most interesting people on the planet are Aries natives. I also think that many of my Aries friends are gentle, but extremely powerful in their ability to, you know, see through the chaos. But as I've talked about before in my channels, there's, you know, a higher form and a lower form of every sign. So, you know, people, hang on to your hats. I believe that that day particularly will be a very interesting one as we see this, you know, sock'em rock'em robot thing happening between Saturn and Pluto. So that's the forecast from March 19th to the 25th. I'm only pointing out the most obvious transits and the ones that I feel that people will be affected by the most, that will be the most powerful. It will be the most, I guess, most provocative. So I'm going to jump us right into all the signs. I always like to break things down into water, earth, air, and fire. I might do it, move it around a little bit. Some people like to do their forecast by starting with Aries. I'm going to start with Cancer. Heck, I'm a Cancer, and I'm doing the water signs first. And so let's get started. Cancer, how are you? Oh, by the way, I'm going to try to put the timestamps on these. So don't get disheartened if it doesn't come up right away, but I will stick timestamps on here as best as I can. So, Cancer. I like to talk about what the moon is doing from the 19th to the 25th that will impact you the most and will also make you feel that you are on top of your game. So on Wednesday the 18th, Thursday the 19th, the moon will be in Pisces, your fellow water sign. Yay! And what does this do for you? This emphasizes your creative ideas. It brings you in contact with people from other cultures. It might even give you the idea that you might want to do some traveling, or maybe it's just you're tired of doing things, you know, in the same way all the time. So those 2 days are good for that. And plus, with the new moon on the 18th, you're ready for a big change. You're tired of the winter doldrums. I don't care if you live in Arizona. It's been that kind of season this year all over the country and all in parts of the world where people are just ready for a change up, and particularly you Cancers. And then another really supportive time for you is when the moon is in Taurus on the 22nd and the 23rd. Cancer, other earth signs are really comfortable for you. And so Taurus is one of your best partners energetically. And that affects your dreams. It affects your desires. It affects your ability to sit down and say to yourself, what would I like to do? Where would I like to be? It also allows you to make contact with people that believe in you. And that's your 11th house. If you're working for a big corporation, you might make, you know, some inroads in some way, or a community organization that you're involved in. So 2 very good days, the 22nd and the 23rd. And that's a Sunday and a Monday. We just talked about the new moon in Pisces. Another thing that's going on is this Mars trining your Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Cancer. And Mars in Pisces up in your 9th house definitely makes this particular transit on the 21st very poignant for you. Are you thinking about a place that you've been to before that you'd like to revisit, you know, somewhere? You know, it doesn't have to be international, it could be down the road, but this is about exploration. And because it's connecting in the sign of Pisces, it pushes you, because Pisces is in your 9th house of travel and learning. It really is giving you a shove toward doing something different and new. Again, it's this, you know, the influence of the new moon, the influence of this particular transit. What would you like to accomplish? Where would you like to see yourself? So that's coming up. We just talked about the Saturn Cazimi, and the, you know, Aries for you is in your 8th house, is not in your 8th house, excuse me, is in your 10th house. And with it, with the sun in Aries conjuncting Saturn in Aries, there's something happening with your career, your glorious career, or your community involvement, whatever that would be. But it's practical, it's hard, it's you're taking the right steps. And then what's interesting about this in Cancer, this is beyond Aries in your 10th house with the sun in Aries, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius in the 8th house, tells me that no matter what you do, there is going to be a transition that's occurring that relates to your career. I'm reading for a lot of people out there. At some point, you're going to say, this is enough. I'm ready to move on. Or I'm ready to step up to the next level in my company. Or somebody's going to approach you and say, you know, we really like what you do. We really like what you say. Here's what you could do for us. There's some transition occurring. And by golly, this is not a little thing. The interplay between the practical, which is Saturn, and Pluto, which is blow it up and make change, walk right in, allow something new to come into my life, and it's on your 10th house, that's your career house. It's also those places in your life where you are stepping up to the plate in an authoritative way, in a powerful way, where you're contributing to something in your community. This is big. So keep that in mind. I can't downplay it at all. Okay, Cancer, that's the news for this coming period of time, the 19th to 25th. Let's take a look at some cards, and I will tell you what's happening here. So this is for Cancer. If you would ever want a reading, I'm available. I do. For some people, they just want astrology. For others, they like just tarot. And then I do both together. So, just, contact me. Let me know you're out there. I love to do readings for people. Don't be afraid to reach out, So, Cancer, 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 Cancer. Work your magic. Oh my goodness. Saint Germain. Powerful, powerful energy from this card. I think you're up for some changes. See, this is saying you have the skills, you have the talent, you have the support of the universe. I have goosebumps. This is about good things coming your way. And some of the good things are just bounty, you know. Someone wants to take you to dinner. Someone wants to help you make something happen. There's possibly a raise, possibly short trips. They want to send you for training. You may be dividing away from something you've been doing. This is the Five of Swords. You felt for a while that you're just, you know, this is the Hanging in Limbo card, the Hangman, but you've kind of been doing it yourself. You just haven't known what direction to go in. I think the circumstances as we see them, you're going to be changing direction whether you like it or not, or whether you've said yes to it or not. And it has something to do with your finances, earning more money, possibly a new position. I'm going to keep these short today, but let me tell you, this coming week is powerful. The Cazimi itself, even if it were just Sun in Aries conjunct Saturn in Aries, that alone is a powerhouse. Combine it with Saturn, combine it with the Sun sextiling Pluto, and it's kapow. So let me know what happens, and keep focused, of course. I always tell people do that. And don't let, you know, the turkeys get you down. Okay. Thank you, Cancer. I'm going to move on to Pisces. What's going on with you? Well, Pisces, we know that the new moon is in your sun. It's all about, you know, a new start for you. It's about, even at the very simplest level, changing your wardrobe, moving out of the old hairdo, getting something new done in your home. But mostly it's about you, how you present yourself to the world. I, by the way, not to get distracted here, I bought myself a little thing that is like a plate, and you put your teacup on top of it, and it keeps your tea warm. I think I'm very clever, but it really does work, because I'm always working at my desk, and when I do readings, I like to have a cup of tea here. So I recommend it. If you're you know, if you like your drinks hot, it's perfect. But I digress. I got sidetracked. Now, Mercury moving direct, and it's very important for everybody, but it's really important for you because, you know, things have been vague enough. We need the communication channels to open up. April will be the end of the shadow period, so don't make any big decisions until then. I recommend that. Mars in Pisces will trine Jupiter in Cancer. So you've got your sun sign, rising sign or moon sign in Pisces, linking up with your fellow water sign in Cancer. And that's in your 5th house. I don't like to go on and on all the time about the 5th house, but it's my favorite house of the whole zodiac wheel. And it's about love, beauty, romance. I'm a big Hallmark fan. Children, creativity, arts, having fun with your friends. Anyway, with Mars pushing the agenda, there is a focus on Saturday the 21st. So to the point where you feel like you've got to do something to have some fun. It might be taking your kids to, I don't know, their favorite pizza place, or going out on a date with somebody that you just met, or any number of things. Now, I didn't mention the fact that also on the 22nd and the 23rd, the moon will be in Taurus, and Taurus is your friend. Just like Cancer likes Taurus, so does Pisces, and that will be in the area of communication. So those 2 days are perfect for getting your ideas out, hooking up your ideas with somebody else's could be fantabulous. If you're a writer, all the better. Now, as we talked about in my review, the 25th, where we have the Saturn cazimi and also the Sun sextiling Pluto, this is a poignant, expressive, powerful period of time. Now I'm going to tell you where it falls in your chart. So Aries for you is in your second house of, guess what? Money. So the focus can very well be on getting your financial house in order in a very big way. Maybe you're trying to get a mortgage. Maybe you're trying to pay off credit cards. Now, at the very same time, Aries, the Sun in Aries will be in that finance house, sextiling Pluto. And that's in your 12th house. So there's a part of you, and this is a little tricky. There's a part of you that says money is a fluid medium. I'm a spiritual person. I am not going to be pulled around by the almighty dollar. And then the other part of you is going to be saying, look, I've got to get my financial house in order. So you're going to have to come to some kind of detente between your desire to get focused and organized around your money issues and your desire to follow your deep-seated, long-held beliefs about how, I wouldn't say how unimportant money is, but you're going to be struggling between the two ideas that, for some people, money is everything. In this case, in this situation, at this period of time, you're going to be at loggerheads with yourself. I would beg you to try to find a happy medium. It's not about getting caught up in the world of finance to the point where you become a Scrooge, but your second house is also about your productivity, your ability to give to others, your ability to share with others, and your ability to produce wonderful, beautiful things. And the more organized that's my dog, of course. The more organized you are in that area of your life, the better. So all I'm saying is don't get caught up in the minutia. Find your equilibrium and don't let one area that we're discussing overtake the other, because you have to find a balance. That's the important piece here. Okay, Pisces, let's take a look at what's happening with the oracle cards, and then we'll throw a couple tarot cards with it. Okay, Pisces. Yeah, this is a very interesting transit. It happens on the 25th. You might want to write that down. I'd love to hear what's happening with you. It would be very interesting. Priorities. You can't make this up. What matters the most to you at this point? Are you trying to help a child get through college? Are you wanting to, you know, enter a spiritual order? So you need to get organized around your finances for that reason. Are you wanting to build a studio? You know, what is your priority? Because the two areas have to work together. And if you don't understand this and you want to drop me a line, I'll try to clarify it in more succinctly. Wouldn't mind to do that at all. Priorities, Pisces, Pisces. What does Pisces need to hear? You need to do a balancing act. Oh my God. Two of Pentacles. A balancing act between these two issues. And you need to be a warrior. King, this is the King of Wands. Non-gender specific. You need to be a fighter to get this balanced. Take charge. You've been organizing yourself. You know, it's been, you know, this is called the card, this is the Nine of Wands, but it's getting all your ducks in a row. Because you have something you want to work on. You have all the skills, the abilities, the psychic, the spiritual, the training, the talent to do what you're planning to do. And then you need to be, you know, you have to step up, tell the world what you're about, and just do it. This is the Queen of Swords, air sign. Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini could be involved in this situation. Again, this is non-gender specific. I love these cards, but and for a while you've just been hanging around, as so many other signs have been just waiting for something to happen. Well, it's time for you to make the next step. Take the next step. You can do this, but get everything in balanced order. Don't say one thing is more important than the other, because you will find that if you work the two areas of your chart, 12th house and this second house, which is all about productivity and finance, and work the two together, you will be happier. Okay, let's move on to Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio. This Pisces new moon really impacts you as well. It's another water sign. You feel comfortable with that, it's great. That's the new moon, new starts on the 18th. And Scorpio, that new moon in Pisces is in that area of your chart that I always love to talk about, which is all about love, romance, creativity. You may run into somebody, make a new friend, fall in love, find somebody fun to do things with. Your child or children might be involved with new things that they're doing, but it's a great period of time actually for new starts in that area of your life. The 18th and 19th, we see the moon in Pisces, and that's in your 5th house. It's fabulous. On the 22nd and 23rd, the moon will be in Taurus. For you Scorpios, that's your 7th house. Everything, anything, all day long, it's going to be about your partnerships. I've talked about this endlessly. All I can say is partners come in all forms. And those couple days, you will be communicating with those people, on building those relationships, and hopefully making them more workable. Okay. Now, Mars trine Jupiter. Mars in Pisces, in that 5th house of love and romance and children and the arts, will trine Jupiter, which is in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is in the 9th house of expanding your worldview. So what can happen? Something creative, romantic, fun can also interplay with that 9th house. It can interject its little feelers into that area. A scenario can play out that would have to do with you possibly taking a trip with somebody that you've fallen in love with, or taking your child or to their first few days of visiting a new school, or you may discover a whole new form of art. But whatever it is, these two areas work together as a team in a very positive way. I've talked about the Saturn Cazimi. It happens once a year, but in this case, it's an Aries Sun conjuncting Saturn in Aries. Where does that fall in your chart? The area of work, health, and everything and anything to do with how you work, when you work, and where you work. And that Cazimi is saying you must pay attention to the rules. You must do everything right. You must follow our pathway and adhere to the boundaries. When we have the Sun in Aries sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, the home and family and children and mother are all coming into this picture as well. And there's a very positive, wonderful energy that's coming out, new ways of working within the family. Where it may become a little bit tricky is that the needs of work and the stringent attitudes that are occurring within the workplace, or even something to do with your diet, fly in the face of what is really being called on within your home, or your home of your original home. So something you've learned in your family home may not resonate with this new structured thing that's occurring in your workplace or with your physical health in some way. So that is the big news for Scorpios. Keep those two issues in the back of your head. I would say write this down, because there will be some kind of push and pull between the 4th house, which is your home, your family of origin, and your mother, and the needs of your workplace or the needs of your physical body. And it could be a situation like growing up, your family always had pasta on Saturday night and a big family gathering, and the kind of foods you ate were very heartwarming, but now you've discovered that you have a physical allergy to wheat. Something complex like that could be occurring, or any number of things could be happening. Or it could be that you want to get together with the family on Saturday night, but your job is keeping you away from them on the weekends. So don't forget, check your calendars, write these down, because they can be very, very illuminating when you're starting to feel some of these things occurring. Okay, Scorpio, let's look at the oracle cards. Scorpio, what's going on? Choose peace. So no matter what's happening, you got to find a way to find balance and harmony in this situation. There's no reason to fight over noodles, as my sister would always say. We're not going to fight over the pasta. Pisces, Pisces. Pisces is not what we're doing. Scorpio, it's for Scorpio. You'll be learning some new skills. That's what's really important here. 3 of Pentacles. And you're going to find a way to balance the needs that we've been just discussing between your home life, your family life, and the needs of the workplace or your health. Some very good news coming in. The Messenger card, Page of Cups. What is it regarding? It has to do with your income, more money coming in. You might find that you're spending a lot, but definitely more income. Queen of Wands. You're going to be asked to take on more responsibilities. Stay focused. Don't jump at everything that's thrown at you. You know, this is saying more responsibility. You're being asked to be more of an authority. Don't overtax yourself. This is the Page of Swords. This says that, you know, you want to jump on the pony and ride it. Well, you got to calm yourself down and realize that you have a lot of responsibilities, possibly in a new position, but you also have responsibilities to yourself and to the people that love you. So this is about balance and finding smart ways to do what you do. And lastly, you've had your heart broken. I always refer to this in the past, but something, see, the reason you want to rush into this thing is because you want to prove that you weren't at fault. And the thing is, rushing into anything is not a good idea, even if you were hurt in the past, because this talks about an old friend, and this old friend may come in to clarify some of the issues that were occurring for you. This is the 6 of Cups. So just keep that in mind. Try to keep everything in perspective, and remember, we're still in a shadow period until April 1st. So, you know, big decisions should be really shelved if you can do it. And give yourself a chance to really reflect on what you're going through right now without leaping into something without giving it a lot of thought. Okay, Scorpio, fantastic. I'm going to move on, but have a great week. Hello, Earth signs. I'm just going to jump right in and start doing all of your particular bits of information. I'm going to start with Taurus. Okay, so, and it's Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, so don't get confused. Remember, I'm trying to be inclusive, so I want everybody to know that you can jump around and look at different, you know, reports, but this particular one I'm going to do now is geared toward people with a rising sign of Taurus and a moon sign and a sun sign. Okay. Where did the new moon hit your chart? It's in the area of the 11th house. So it's all about the big organizations you're involved with, groups of people that support you. And also the things that you dream of accomplishing that those important people can support. The new moon means that there is a new beginning in that area of your life, and it's very, very, very profound. So the 18th and 19th, the moon in general is in that area of your chart. So you may find yourself enveloped by people who are helping you work through issues or work on projects, or who really believe in your vision. Another very important moon date is on Sunday the 22nd and the 23rd, when the moon is in your sign of Taurus. So you need to take advantage of that period. Send out resumes, get together with friends, work on projects that matter to you. But most of all, try to have some fun. I think whenever the moon is in your sun sign, it's a great time. Even if all you want to do is spend time at home cooking your favorite meal and enjoying playing, with your cat and watching TV. I just think it's a period of time. I think that we all need a little downtime, and I love the sun moon conjunctions that we get. Okay, so let's talk about the Mars trine Jupiter. So Mars in Pisces, which is in your 11th house, as we just mentioned, talking about groups of people or people that support you, will link arms with a fellow water sign in the sign of Cancer. And that's in the 3rd house of communication, sharing ideas. So you may find that this is a period of time, and that's on Saturday the 21st, when someone in authority or someone who has deep pockets is interested in one of your bright ideas. Or you've sent them information and they want to meet with you. Or you intercept them in the hallway. Whatever it is, it's a connection, and it's a very important period of time for that. That trine, because the trine between Mars and Jupiter is powerful, and it's not something to be ignored. Then what we have, and I talked about this in my review, we have the Sun Saturn cazimi, and it happens once a year where the Sun is in the same or very close degree with Saturn, which emphasizes hard work, traditional values, getting things done, taking care of business. For you, this is falling in the area of your 12th house, and you're saying, well, what the heck is that? That's all about your belief in your particular life path. Maybe you're a musician, or maybe you are a lawyer, and you really feel driven in that direction. Or maybe you don't, and maybe you're looking to change it. It's also, you're tied into your connections with your spiritual values. It's also tied in with karma from the past, and it's also tied in with some of your personal secrets. So this particular transit has a resonance that goes back to 1996. which went through till 1999. So if you track back, you may see that something happened during those those 3-year period where you had a major life change. Well, in that case, there's something very similar could occur that will also push you forward a little bit more. And I think that's, and I really want to say this, I think that these various transits and the information that I try to give is about helping us progress and shift gears and to become hopefully better humans. So then at the same time, we have the Sun in Aries, of course, that's in your 12th house, will sextile in a very positive way Pluto in Aquarius. And where does that fall for you? That's in your 10th house of your major career or your involvement in some kind of community, action of some sort. So you might use some of your insight, your knowing, your spirituality, your something that you're bringing from long ago. I mean, maybe you trained horses, or maybe you were an athlete. I don't know, but you bring it to the career arena. What you have to watch out for is that you don't become so bound up with the idea that there are strict boundaries in life that you don't see the potential for thinking outside the box in your career. Excuse me, because this is all about, particularly the Sun sextiling Pluto, it's all about innovation and new ideas. And this is important to you because it's going to impact your ability to move forward in your career. So you need to find a balance. I hope that made sense. Now, that's the big news from March 19th to the 25th. Let's take a look at the cards and see what they want to tell us. This is for Taurus. Taurus. Detach from drama. Don't let anybody pull you off kilter. This could be a very drama-filled period of time, and you have to find a way to stay on course, right? So let's see what else. This is for Taurus. Strength. Use your head. Don't let your emotions run amok. Stand your ground. King of Swords. You could be involved with short trips, quick short trips here, there, and everywhere. And it could relate to anything in your life. The Emperor is somebody who steps forward into your life to guide your process, whether it's in your spiritual life or on your career path. Again, the Queen of Swords, non-gender specific. We had the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini individuals who could be swimming in your pond, so to speak. Knight of Cups, some good news coming in, possibly from this individual, but it's not necessarily a woman. Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. Very cerebral, very much, particularly with Aquarians, they are brilliant. And they really do think outside the box. News that, this is the news in your head. You're constantly looking at your finances, Taurus. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But in this case, it's almost like you need to trip the light fantastic a little bit and use your creativity. Because remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and arts and luxury things and color and design. I know so many Tauruses that work in the arts. Many of them work in the medium of pottery or 3D sculpture. So the Empress is creativity. This will support you. I'm not saying get loosey-goosey. I'm saying utilize that skill. It'll help you move forward. Okay, Taurus, have a great week. Virgo, you're one of my favorite earth signs. I like all the earth signs. Let's who's fooling whom? Virgo, let's talk about what's happening with this Pisces moon. New moon on the 18th. It really is affecting everything and anything to do with partnerships. You know, I always say this, partnerships come in all packages. Doesn't mean it has to be romantic, but this will be the new wave because it's a new moon, something new in the partnership arena. Has somebody proposed? Did you get a new dog walker? Has someone moved out of your life, and is somebody coming toward you in your business arena? So keep that in mind. This is a powerful new moon, and it starts on the 18th. Also on the 19th, it's same thing. Moon in Pisces, all about partnerships. Now, Mercury goes direct, and it will be in shadow period until April 1st. Try to not make any major purchases or changes, if you can help it, until the 1st of April, and things will go easier. They'll be much smoother. On the 21st, Mars will trine Jupiter. Mars in Pisces, in that partnership area, God help us, and it will trine, which means a positive connection with a fellow water sign, Jupiter in Cancer. And where does that land in your chart? In your 11th house of groups. People who are influencers, people who support you. So somehow or other, your partnership and your situation within that partnership can be supported by activities that are occurring in this 11th house. Also, the 11th house is your dreams and wishes. Maybe you share a desire with your partner that says, I want to raise goats. And your partner says, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's move to Vermont and raise goats. And you go, okay, that sounds good. I'd like to do the goat thing. So, and you're going to do yoga with goats. I'm being silly, and I know I sound crazy, but the thing about it is, that's the kind of transit this is, where you get a positive, supportive hit that comes out of your 11th house. So keep that in mind. Or here's another idea. Somebody who has a lot of influence, some deep pockets, says, listen, if you guys move to Hawaii, you can run this hotel over there. I'm just saying. This is a very interesting and unique transit, and it happens around the 21st. Now, another period where the moon really shines on you is on the 22nd and 23rd, when the moon is in Taurus. For you, Virgo, it's a fellow earth sign. Yay. And Taurus is in your 9th house. Taurus is all about blowing the lid off your old ideas, letting the sun shine in on some new concepts. It could be you've discovered a new artist, you've discovered a new restaurant, you've found a part of the world that you've fallen in love with. So this is a really nice couple days, the 22nd and 23rd. And then lastly, I mentioned it in my forecast review. We have a Saturn cazimi. Happens once a year. Saturn, I have to tell you what it means. Saturn will link up with the sun in a very close degree. So in this case, it's Saturn in Aries conjunct the sun in Aries. And oh, by the way, this happened 29 years ago when we had it occur in 1996. 1996 to 1999. You may have been impacted by a similar kind of transit. And that happened in your 8th house, Virgo. Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Virgo rising. Some major life transition. I know what happened. I have Virgo rising myself, and I know it happened. Some big life changes occurred. But something to keep in mind, if you can look back, or if you're able to look back that far, something may have transpired that made you shift gears and look at life in a very different way. At the same time, while this particular cazimi is going on, Aries, which the sun is in Aries, of course, you know that, will sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And that's in your 6th house of health, wellness, which also includes exercise and diet and vitamins and all that stuff. And how you work, when you work, where you work. It could be that you're into gardening. It could be that you work in an office and you want to move all the furniture around. But with the sun in Aries, sextiling this 6th house, this means that there is a shift occurring in the work or in the area of wellness. So just keep that in mind, because it's all about transition, and it's occurring, or you're going to start feeling some of it at least around the 25th. Okay. Let's take a look at the oracle cards and see how it dovetails with what I'm talking about. Okay, Virgo. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Open your heart to love. I love this card. This could be anything. You may find a stray walking up the street toward you. Let them, and I'm talking about pets. I'm talking about a cat. But it could be a person. But here we go. Open your heart to love. Oops. I want to look at the tarot cards. Okay, Virgo, Virgo. You've been feeling like you're hanging in limbo. Oh, a lot of my people are getting this tonight. You've been feeling like life has just sort of been this constant drudgery. Or maybe you feel like some of the things you had planned just won't happen. You've got the skills, the abilities, the talents, the magician card. It's not, it's circumstance. And you've sort of been boonswoggled. 7 of Swords. There may have been a situation that you dealt with where you felt taken, you were either swindled, or something happened behind your back, or you were taken off guard. You know, whatever it was a little rough. But now you're in a season of productivity and you're trying to build something or grow something. The Seven of Pentacles. And there's some good news coming in. Page of Cups. That's a good message. And there's going to be a celebration. The Three of Cups. Let's leave it at that. Let's stay positive. This is a reading that goes from the 19th to the 25th. Around the 26th, 27th, when I post the next video, I'm kind of slow on the uptake. But I always try to regroup and add more information from the past a little bit so that we're not getting totally lost. I want you to realize that a lot could happen in a very short amount of time. That's what I'm picking up. So I want you to stay focused and positive and let things evolve. And also do good things for yourself. I always say, do one wonderful thing every day. Even if it's, you know, don't rubbing hand cream into your cuticles, or, you know, going to a flower shop if you're into flowers. Do a nice thing for yourself that doesn't necessarily mean taking care of business. Okay, Virgo, have a wonderful week. Until I see you again, be well. I'm going to move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, how are you? Let's talk about the week coming up from March 19th to the 25th. Actually, I lie because I'm going to include the 18th. The 18th was a new moon in Pisces, which will resonate for a while to come. And that part of your chart is all about communicating your wonderful ideas. So keep that in mind. 18th and 19th, it's all about communication, sharing information back and forth. It might even have something to do with your siblings. As long as we're talking about communication, Mercury goes direct on the 20th, and the shadow period will end around April 1st. So try not to make any major decisions until then. Now, oh, and by the way, on the 20th, the sun will move into Aries. So we're now in Aries season. So keep that in your back pocket. On Saturday the 21st, Mars will trine Jupiter. And for you Capricorns, this is a very, very beautiful period. Mars in Pisces, trine Jupiter in Cancer. Capricorn likes water signs. It likes that energy. So where is this in your chart? Well, Mars is in Pisces. That's over in your communication sector. And Jupiter is in your partnership sector. So you may be sitting down with a person you consider a partner and saying, listen, let's get our story straight, because we're going to be talking to the kids. Or we work together as a team in the workplace. Let's make sure we're on the same page. This is a very good thing to do. On Sunday, the 22nd, and Monday, the 23rd, the moon will be in your fellow earth sign of Taurus. And it's a great time, because it's in your 5th house, to have lunch with friends, go shopping with your offspring, take one of your grandkids to something they'd love to do, go on a date, if you're in a committed relationship, go on a date. It doesn't have to be, you know, exclusive here. This is a beautiful period of time on the 22nd and 23rd. So get creative. And then lastly, probably the most powerful, one of the most powerful transits of probably at least half of the year is the Saturn Cazimi. Saturn Cazimi is when Saturn links up with the Sun in a very close degree. So in this case, it's the Sun in Aries and Saturn in Aries. It's giving a lot of force to, the Sun gives a lot of force to Saturn. It makes everything very determined and responsible and hardworking and following the rules. Where does this fall for you, Capricorn? It's in your 4th house of home, family, mother, you know, all the things related to that. You do it the right way. Now, the last time we had a Cazimi like similar to this was between 1996 and 1999. Look back if you are old enough to do that. It's something I thought I should mention. Now, simultaneously, the Sun in the sign of Aries will do a happy dance with Pluto in Aquarius. So you've got Pluto in Aquarius in your finance house, and you've got Aries in your 4th house. You've got the Sun in Aries in your 4th house. So you may find that you are either wanting to spend money on something to do with your home. You want to take family members on a trip and spend a lot of money on it. You might be doing a whole bunch of renovation that is more costly than you anticipated, but you still want to do it. And it's going to fly in the face. There's going to be sort of a push-pull between what's happening with the Saturn Cazimi and the Sun sextile Pluto. Because the Sun sextile Pluto is saying, throw caution to the wind, think outside the box, do this thing for your home and family. The Cazimi is saying, are you out of your mind? This is not how you proceed. This is not practical. This is not being a good Capricorn. What are you thinking? So you may have to, I have a lot of Capricorn friends. I can just hear the dialogue. You may have to sit down with some friends and find a middle road for yourself. Or you might want to talk to a therapist or your financial planner, because there is a middle ground here that you need to adhere to that will allow you to do what you're planning to do, but still keep you balanced. So I wanted to mention that. And those are the aspects for the period between March 19th and 25th. Okay, Capricorn, whoops. Let's look at the oracle cards and see what you need to hear. Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. Detach from drama. Woo! Fantastic. I believe that's true. We were talking about the 4th 4th house of home and family. There could be, again, some kind of drama too going on with that as well. And let's take a look at the tarot cards. What do they need to hear? What do you Capricorns need to hear right now? Judgment. Big life change coming up for you. Maybe a move. It means transition of some sort. You are a little nervous about money, but you know what? There is hope and there is support for you if you're struggling. 5 of Pentacles. King of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. Energy, non-gender specific. This could be the person that steps forward to help you manage some of your financial issues. It could be an Aries person or Sag person that comes forward to say, hey, I've got some ideas. You might be taking a little vacay right now, maybe in another week or so. Between March 19th and March 25th, you might be planning a small getaway. 4 of Swords. Queen of Swords, use all your intellectual ability to understand your situation. This is Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini could step in and support you in this activity. And also Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is, we call this person the fire pony. They could be coming in from left field, somebody you knew from the past. If it's a lover, I am always a little reticent to bring in a past lover. But if it is somebody who wants to talk finance, Sag, Leo, or Aries, they could be supportive. I am a little leery, always have been, of this energy that comes in from the past or from left field. You've known them before. It might be, it might behoove you to pay attention to their intention. And lastly, you're moving on from an emotionally difficult period. Things will get better. You will feel better about your life in probably about 8 weeks. So, on that note, Capricorn, until next time, take care. And now we're going to look at the next crew here, which are the air signs: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Hello, Geminis. How are you doing? This is a forecast that obviously goes from the 19th of March to the 25th. So, what are we looking at here? Well, we have a new moon in Pisces in your 10th house. And that energy reverberates for some weeks to come. The new moon means a new start, and it's affecting your career life. You could be switching jobs. You could be planning to switch a job. On the 19th, the moon will also be in Pisces. You'll still be thinking about changing jobs. Because Aries is compatible with you and it feels good, I like to talk about the moons that really affect you in a positive way. On Friday the 20th and the 21st, the moon will be in Aries in your 11th house. This is important for you because there are people with deep pockets or deep influence that could really support your dreams and wishes. Keep that in mind. You might come in contact with those people over that period. And then on Tuesday, the 24th and the 25th, the moon will be in your sun sign, rising sign, or sun sign. Your sun, moon, or rising sign. Powerful, beyond powerful for having a very comfortable few days. Tuesday and Wednesday. Some good news could come in. You could send out a resume that would be received with open arms. You could have yourself a really great time going out to lunch with people. It's just a really great period of time to take advantage of making some changes, or to, even to make yourself feel better about yourself, about your life. So that's the 24th and 25th. On the 21st, Mars in Pisces will trine Jupiter in Cancer. Mars in Pisces is in your 10th house of your great and glorious career. And Jupiter in Cancer is in your 2nd house of finance. This is a very potent period where you're looking at your career and also looking at your ability to make increased income. The two could work together as a powerhouse. You could find that you've been hired by a group of people and you will be getting an increase in your salary. You could discover a career path that will allow you to make more money. So this is very important for you. On Tuesday, the 24th, no, I take it back. On Wednesday, the 25th, we have two transits, probably two of the most powerful transits for the year. We have a Saturn Cazimi, which is where the sun conjuncts Saturn. It increases the power of Saturn, which is already about responsibility and following the rules. With the sun conjuncting Saturn in a very close degree, it's making this Saturn energy hyperbolic, very similar to something that happened between 1996 and 1999. If you're old enough to look back at it, you might want to check your calendars and see where you were at and what you were doing then. Now, where this impacts you, Gemini, is again in the area of your 11th house of, groups and people that support you in your dreams. And with the sun in that area and Saturn in that area, these folks will demand that you act responsibly. They might want to support you, but they also want an adherence to rules and regulations. At the same time, this is what makes it interesting. The sun in Aries, in the 11th house of people that support you and believe in you, will sextile Pluto. And Pluto in Aquarius is in the 9th house of learning, expansion, growing. So you may find that there's even another group of people that want to support your intellectual development or your ability to travel or some kind of new invention that you've come up with. It could be that you have two different groups of people pulling at you. One that's more interested in your intellect and your creativity, and the other in your adherence to rules and regulations. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it could be a very interesting period of time for you. Drop me a line and let me know how this works for you. So, Gemini, let's take a look at the oracle cards and see how they affect you. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Clear and shield your energy. You know, you may have to protect yourself from all the energy and the forces around you that want a piece of the pie. You have, for right now, you are the it person, the it girl, the it boy, the person that seems to be everybody's favorite. You've gotten all your ducks in a row, 9 of Wands. You are ready to move on or separate from something you've been doing. You're comfortable in that. And there will be news coming to you, a good message. It could have to do with the career, it could have to do with going to school, it could any number of things. And what's critical here is you're going to see where your assets lie. What is going to benefit you the most? 3 of Wands. There's a person in authority, the Emperor, who really supports your dreams. There is also a desire on their part for you to make a commitment to them or to their group or to their organization. And this person could be an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. And you're kind of nervous about the whole scene. You're anxious. This is illusion. Don't get caught up in this. 8 of Swords. This person, I think, has your best interest at heart. And lastly, whatever occurs, there'll be money coming in. You might need to spend some of it right away, but you'll be making more money. 6 of Pentacles. Okay, Gemini, I wish you a great week. Take care, and until next time, be well. Hello there, Libra. I hope you're doing well. This forecast is for you. It runs from the 19th to the 25th, although I do include a little discussion of the new moon on the 18th. Okay, the new moon. On March 18th, it's in the sign of Pisces. For you, it has everything to do with a new start in a job, a new start at something that relates to where you work, how you work, and when you work. Also, something to do with taking care of your physical well-being. So that's the period of time, and it's a kickoff. It's like rah-rah. And it's great for you, and it will resonate for many weeks to come. So keep that in your back pocket when you're thinking about making changes in that arena. The moon on the 20th and Saturday the 21st is in the sign of Aries. It's all about partnership, any kind of partnership, but the focus will be in that area. And then on Tuesday the 24th and the 25th, the moon will be in Gemini, your fellow air sign, in an area of your chart that's all about expanding your mind. Any kind of mind expansion. It can be going to a museum, reading some good books, or taking a trip. So that'll be an interesting period. Now, let's talk about major transits. I mentioned the new moon. That's a big deal. Then on the 21st, Mars in Pisces will trine Jupiter in Cancer. 2 water signs. They do a little happy dance. And Mars in Pisces will be in your 6th house that I just mentioned of health and work. It will trine Jupiter in Cancer in your 10th house of your great and glorious career. So what you're going to be doing is renovating something that relates to improving your career. You could find that you're working from home instead of going into an office. You could be offered a new position in the same company, even though it's in a different part of the city or another part of the country, but the two dovetail, and it's very positive. The last big thing that I need to mention is these Saturn cazimi. Saturn cazimi is when Saturn conjuncts the sun. They're at the same degree. They link arms and they dance merrily into the sunset. I'm just kidding. And this will all be in your area of your long-term partnerships. The sun will give Saturn this determined push to focus on traditional values and responsibility and commitment and all of that stuff. So some of you may decide you want to, take a dating situation into something more serious, or a partnership in business, etc., etc. Then out of nowhere, the sun in Aries, in that partnership sector, will sextile Pluto in Aquarius, in your 5th house of love and romance. So Aquarius, in this situation, in the sign of Pluto, in the planet of Pluto. So sun in in Aries, sextiling Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, could be a situation where you don't want to have the long-term partnership with that person you've been dating. You want it with somebody else. Or you could find out that you have fallen in love with somebody and that long-term partnership is not what you want, you just want to, you want this new person. Or it could be even something a little less dramatic. It could be that you, because the fifth house is also about love but it's also about the arts, or it's about your sibling, your child at home and their siblings. So there could be a situation where you want to be a creative, and you need to broach the idea with your partner that you would like to quit your regular job and totally go into making paintings. Whatever occurs will be a little bit of a situation where there's discord and discussion and a need to work out the details. So keep that in mind as you go forward, because these two transits working together are very, very interesting and full of drama at the very least. Okay, so let's take a look at your oracle cards and see what's going on here. Okay, Libra, Libra, Libra. Twin flame. This is where you meet your other half. So as I was just mentioning, some of you might discover the love of their life. So just saying. Libra, Libra, Libra. This is a heartfelt person. Queen of Cups. And there could be a celebration related to this. Three of Cups is about a party. You could meet this person at an event or a celebration. Queen of Wands. This person that you do meet could be a Sag, Leo, or Aries. Also, at the same time, you could be very concerned about your finances. I'm urging you to not go off and wool gather too much, because this is also saying that some of this concern over the money is an illusion. And then lastly, you're definitely moving into the next chapter of your life. So changes are a-coming. So Libra, until next time, stay focused, find good ways of taking care of yourself, and until then, be well. Aquarius. Okay, let's move on and see what's going on with you from March 19th to the 25th. So the new moon occurs on the 18th, and it's in the sign of Pisces, and it's in your finance sector. It's all about your productivity and how you earn money. That's the focus of that second house. Now, the new moon will reverberate for months to come. It always does. But other moons are occurring. The moon in Aries on the 20th and the 21st is comfortable for you. And I like to emphasize the moons that really impact you and really support your development. And that's in your area of communication. So it's a really great time to share your ideas with colleagues, or even with people who are interested in a project you might be involved with. On the 24th and 25th, the moon will be in Gemini, a fellow air sign, and that's in your 5th house. Are you a creative? Are you doing something fun with one of your children? Or are you taking them to workshops or to visit colleges or whatever? I know a lot of you are up to that right now, so it's interesting. It could be a romantic connection that you're making. So that's exciting. So those particular moons will really be impactful. Now, let's look at some of the transits. Mercury goes direct on the 20th, and it will stay in shadow period until the 1st. Translated, don't make any big decisions until Mercury has totally played its little story out. If you have to, you have to. But if you can put it off, put it off. If you don't need to buy the car until April 5th, wait. Now, on the 21st, Mars in Pisces will link arms in fellow water sign, Jupiter. For you, it's about money and how you make your money, what vehicle you use to increase your financial well-being. And I think you're going to come up with some very, very, very positive new ideas. So keep that in mind. Now, one of the most spectacular transits, not the only spectacular transit, but it's one of the big ones, is the Saturn Cazimi that we have on the 25th, and that's a Wednesday. So what's a Saturn Cazimi? It's when Saturn conjuncts very closely, in this very close degree, with the sun. And in this case, it's in the sign of Aries, and it's in that area of communication. And Saturn is saying, in this case, because it's being pushed by the sun and it's intensifying it, it's saying you need to express yourself as practically and in as much of an organized fashion as you possibly can. Something like this period occurred in 1996, went from 96 to 99. So if you can think back to that, that's that period of time where something might have been occurring and it changed your life. At the same time, almost in opposite form and energy, is the sun, of course, in Aries, will sextile, it will do a happy dance with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And of course, Aquarius is your sun sign. And this impacts you personally, sun, moon, or rising. And the sun in Aries, in your 3rd house, and Pluto in your 1st house, it's like you could come across as a person in some circumstance that has a brilliant mind, has a fantastic new idea, and presents yourself in such a way that people can't, or somebody of influence is blown away by what you're able to bring to the table. At the same time, this is wild, with the sun in Aries conjuncting Saturn in Aries, it's saying, no, 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 you have to hold back you can't let your true self come out. You have to be responsible. You have to say it in a very organized fashion. And you're going to have to find a middle ground in the way you express some new concept. You might be writing a book. You might be sharing a concept with somebody that could be a funder. Any number of things can occur. But I want you to hear me say that because this is important. There's a push-pull between these two transits that has to do with your being accepted for something that you are able to bring into the world. It could be art, it could be science, it could be some creative concept, medicine, whatever. And going forward, there will be a need for balance, not rigidity and not extremism, but somewhere in the middle. I think you can do it. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's take a look at the oracle cards, Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to hear? Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. Priorities. Essentially, you have to decide what's the most important thing for you to share. Tarot. Let's see what the tarot cards are saying. Aquarius, Aquarius. Well, there could be some short trips. You might be presenting some of your ideas to somebody you care about or is interested in your work. This could be about a long-term relationship, or it could be about committing to this project. It's a new beginning. Now, if it's a new relationship, it's very beautiful. But it could be a partnership that's a business partnership. Whatever it is, there's a celebration. So if it's a long-term commitment, it works for you. 3 of Cups. You're definitely going to be working 2 different projects or doing a balancing act in order to make this work. Money will come in from this, and money will go out. Because you'll be spending money to make money. There could be a little bit of a disagreement about how to go about that. 5 of Wands. Don't make any quick decisions. In fact, remember, the shadow period for Mercury retrograde, I love retrogrades, don't get me wrong. It's a good time for revising. But the shadow period ends around the 1st of April. Give yourself some breathing room. And don't leap into anything until you're ready. Yeah, you've been carrying a lot on your shoulders. So this is a period of time for revision. It's a period of time for finding balance. and making sure that you found the priority of this situation, not driven solely by your emotional state. On that note, Aquarius, I want you to have a wonderful week, and come find me after the 25th. I usually try to get these postings up the day after. Sometimes it's one day after because of circumstances and family obligations or work obligations. But listen, I do get them up, and I try to regroup and give you the information that's as pertinent as possible. And I really do love doing this and hope to hear from you. Please drop a line, like, share, and subscribe, because your involvement helps me to do more of what I love and what will grow this community as well. So take care. And until next time, be well. Hello, all you fire sign people. Let's start with Aries. How have you been? There's a lot happening right now, I got to tell you. Okay. So I like to think that we are moving into positive territory right now. I think some shifts are occurring. I think people are going to get this feeling back that things have momentum. So I like that. We have a new moon in Pisces. It's a start of a new beginning. For you, Aries, it's in your 12th house. It's about focusing on your life path. It's focusing on your spirituality. It's good. That happens, and it reverberates for a few weeks to come. Aries, on the 20th and the 21st, the moon will be in your sign of Aries, and it will conjunct your sun, moon, or rising. So, great time to take a little break, have fun with your friends, go on a walkabout, do some shopping, do something that makes you happy, because those are great days for that. On Tuesday, the 24th and 25th, the moon will be in Gemini. Great for Aries. Positive, flowing, etc. And it's in the 3rd house. It's all about communicating your ideas. Doing something that matters to you. Having ideas come out of you through writing, podcasting, whatever. Just sharing with friends over a nice dinner would be perfect. Now, let's talk transits. It's all about you, Aries. It really is. So, Mercury goes direct on the 20th, and the shadow period ends on April 1st. So you can start moving forward with some of your concepts, sharing ideas, getting things moving. You won't feel so stuck. The sun moves into Aries, again, perfect for the Arian personality. Mars in Pisces will trine Jupiter in Cancer. Mars in Pisces in your spiritual house, 12th house, or the area of life path, will connect with the area of your home and family. So you might be doing something with your family and changing your life in some way. Maybe you're moving one of your family members to your home, or maybe you have decided to follow in the family business. but it will be connected in some way, the 12th house to the 4th house. On the 25th, one of the biggest, not the only, but one of the biggest transits of the year is a Saturn Cazimi. And Saturn Cazimi is a conjunction between the Sun and Saturn. So it takes all those attributes of Saturn, responsibility, hard work, adherence to old values, traditional values, and says, we're going to make it hyperbolic. We're going to make it even more important. Pay attention to your boundaries, etc., etc. Last time we had something even similar to this was in 1996. 96 to 99. If you can look back that far and remember what you were up to, this period is going to be very similar. Now, here's the deal. That Cazimi is in your first house. So you are coming across, or trying to anyway, solid core citizen, organized and responsible. Terrific. At the same time, the Sun in Aries will be doing a happy dance, will be sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. And there is a group of people that really want to support your ideas. And they're looking for you to be as original and as creative as possible. The 11th house is also about your dreams. So your desires might be flying in the face of this other energy that's saying you need to be an upstanding, strict, no frills, hardworking individual. And there's a push-pull here. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a need to find a middle ground. We'll look at the cards in a little bit to see what plays out. It's not one or the other. You have to blend these two energies together and find a middle ground. That's my opinion. So let's take a quick look at the oracle cards and see what comes up as we're talking about this. Okay. Aries. What do they need to hear? What do Aries natives need to hear? What is going on here? You are seeing the situation accurately. Oh yes, oh yes. They want to see that you are this creative mind, that you aren't a prisoner of, you know, everyone else's opinions. So what is it that you, Aries, need from this situation right now? You need to, this is very hard on you because you're trying to deliver on a lot of fronts. It almost makes you sad. 6 of Pentacles. There's money coming in. maybe from something that was a little bit depressing, but you'll be spending a lot of it. You're going to be doing a balancing act between two different projects. This could be something that's very personal to you, and yet the outcome is happy. It could be a partnership. It could be, you know, a love affair. It could be just a positive outcome to a situation that's been difficult. This will loosen you up for more creative activities. The Empress. You got to work on the anxiety, because I know you're worried and nervous, but it's going to be fine. Because this is the Three of Cups. There's a joyful celebration coming up. Okay, Aries. So you need to find a middle ground. You need to stay focused and calm. Find ways of pampering yourself. And until next time, take care and be well.